Hello, friends. Welcome to today's show. I'm Dr. Helen, founder and Chief Engagement Officer of Dr. Helen Holton and Associates, and your host for Dr. Helen Speaks, Strengths, Resilience, and Leadership. Yes, it's good to be here with you today. I just have to tell you, when I wake up on Tuesday mornings, I look forward to our time together. You bring joy to my day. And prayerfully, we're adding something to yours. As a lifelong learner, it's exciting to share with you new and different insights, perspectives, new learnings about life, leaders, and leadership. I just came back from Gallup's Gallup at Work Summit, their first in 3 years. And we all know why. It was just phenomenal to be with people across the globe, all focused on how do we help people bring their best of who they are to the surface. In that vein, I'm excited to continue on the path of executive presence. Gave a little teaser about it last week. And yes, as you can imagine, it wasn't from this space, but however, it was important to be present with you. So have you ever noticed that when something comes to your mind that captures your attention, it somehow shows up more frequently in the space of your consciousness? For example, you're driving on the highway, you see a red vehicle. Then it seems like all of a sudden you see an abundance of red vehicles on the road. It's as simple as that we don't notice it until we notice it, and it takes some sort of stimuli or something that kicks it into gear. Whether it's in conversations, emails, social media posts, magazine articles, or just hanging out in your current thoughts. When you give something a dominant place in your realm of thinking and being and showing up, it matters. It makes a difference. Yes, I hear you, Terrence, like Tesla. I agree. It's those little things that all of a sudden I'm with you, because it seems like everybody's got one. It used to be a rare occasion to see them, and now they're just all over the place. So thank you for sharing that. Executive presence has been doing that with me lately. It just keeps coming up. I've got clients asking, well, what is executive presence? Because someone has said something about it, but they haven't gone deeper into it. And I would say probably making an assumption that the audience they're speaking to already knows what executive presence is. It's really, in researching, which I started a few weeks ago, trying to nail down where it came into being and walking away with it's a culmination of ways of being, of doing things, of showing up. But there are some specifics that you can do to make it real for you and to recognize those things that you're already doing that are part of your executive presence. So it's not as simple as it may seem. Of course, these days, whatever is, other things you employ to develop and grow your leadership, it requires intentional focus and energy. It's not just going to happen because you hear it, you see it, like a Tesla. Doesn't mean you're going to own one and drive it on the road just because you see it a lot. Now, if it compels you that much, you're going to put intentional focus and energy towards making that your reality. Simple as that. As lifelong learners, we know that you're always on the lookout for something new and or interesting to add to your knowledge base. Well, executive presence is the place we're headed for the next few weeks. And I love to quote other leaders and what they say about topics we're going to talk about. It just goes to show I'm not the only one that has that thought or has it come into being, because goodness gracious, I have enough quotes of my own. But I love Amelia Earhart, a pioneering aviator, one of the first women to take to the skyways and do things that hadn't been done before as a woman. She said the most effective way to do it is to do it. Makes perfectly good sense. How practical is it? Where do you get started? Do you have within you what it takes for you to even just to launch? And this is where oftentimes our inner critic will come whisper in our ear, oh, you don't want to do that. Leave that for someone else. You're just really not that good. I don't even know why you want to bark up that tree. But this isn't about your inner critic. Just keep it in mind that when you get wind of something that you really want to pursue for your leadership, listen. For the naysayers in your head, they'll certainly come outside of you if you begin to talk to people about it, but the ones in your head will have even more power. Now, there's another more modern pioneer who took up that same mantra, so to speak, when he said, just do it. And that's what he did. It was Michael Jordan. And from a advertising, naming opportunity with Nike, those 3 words launched billions of dollars in revenue, recognition, and notoriety outside of basketball. He went on to become a living legend in that sport, and he went on to become uber wealthy with that slogan. Now, executive presence is no different. Once you know what it involves, you've got to make up your mind if you really want to develop it. You see, every leader isn't out to be the best leader they can be. But if you're showing up here on Dr. Helen Speaks, I know you're looking to take away something that's going to help you move closer to where you're looking to be. If you got to roll up your sleeves and do it, hey, do it. It's a part of your legacy. It's a part of stepping into your leadership with greater impact and influence. For me, one of the biggest lessons learned along this journey of leadership is that the most effective leaders are lifelong learners, and who you learn from matters. So thank you for showing up here to learn a little something more than what you had before you came here. Or maybe it's going to give you affirmation. Hey, I've been doing this. I don't know if it's right for me, but you know what? I heard it on Dr. Helen Speaks, so there must be something to it. Who knows? Your investment in you, that's right, your investment in you makes you a better, stronger, and more influential leader, a more relevant leader, the kind of leader, frankly, we need more of in the world today. I'm a news. Yeah, I'm hooked on news. There are days that I just get too much of it and it's like, I got to shut it off. However, as a leader, it's important to know what's going on in your environment, locally, nationally, and globally. Tell you a little story. A couple weeks ago, I was in my office working. It was late at night. I had windows open on the front of the house, but my office is on the back of the house. And all of a sudden I started smelling smoke. Now, I hadn't watched much news that day, so I wasn't fully aware of what was happening. And I said, first, I thought it was my computer trying to blow up on me. And when I was sure that it wasn't coming from my computer, I said, okay, let me go find out what's going on. Nothing out back, no flames out front. I'm like, open the front door and stepped out on the porch and said, I smell smoke. What's going on? Turned on the TV the next morning. It was smoke from Canada. Awareness. One of those things that is important to your executive presence is awareness, your surroundings, your environment. What's happening that can influence, shift, or shake up your plans, your goals, get in the way of. which is another reason to be an agile leader these days. Developing your executive presence is so much more than your appearance when you enter the room. Now, that matters as well. However, not as much as other and more powerful attributes that we're going to discuss today. And it requires three things that I often speak about: leveraging your strengths, navigating your weaknesses, and you know what the third one is. It's one of my favorites: building your resilience. Do you have the opportunity to do what you do best every day? Yes, some of you may have thought, oh, she's not going to mention that. Oh, no, I'm going to mention this every time I show up, because it's a powerful question about what you do, how you stay in touch with the best of who you are. Yeah, it's for your good that I ask it, because you have a difference to make in this world that no one else can make but you. And when you have the opportunity to do what you do best every day, number one, it says you're working your strengths. That's where you're hanging out to make life happen, not only for you, but for those you lead. You're leveraging your strengths. Does it mean you can sit back on your laurels and say, oh, got this, I don't need this anymore? Absolutely not. It means you're hitting your stride, you're in your zone. Go for it. Time waits for no one. Go for it, grab the gusto, when and where you can. So, before we go forward, I want you to grab your note-taking device. Yes, you can go back and listen to the recording, but hey, you're here. Take a few notes down. It'll be a minute before the recording's released, but we're working on that too. What I know is that when you are ready, when you're in position to chart the course of your dreams, desires, and goals, you're going to want to be concerned about your executive presence. When you show up here and Dr. Helen Speaks, this is your opportunity to think about that question. Do I really have the opportunity to do what I do best every day? Take some time today, give your mind permission to let go and be fully present in this moment, to think deeper, be more intentional, and do something more or different to move closer to what you want. How will you take action with the value you get today? Write that down. How will I take action with the value I get today? It's not for you to share with anybody else, but to let the energy emanate a little deeper for you. If you care to, you can let me know, because it matters and I care. Why do I do what I do? To motivate and inspire you to engage deeper with you and focus on new and improved ways to live your life and serve others with life-changing results. So here we go. We're going to discuss today some of the more significant attributes of executive presence. And I want to start out with not the obvious, what you look like when you show up at a meeting to do something, to be about who you are. I want to talk about confidence, charisma, and authenticity. These are essential. It's what you feel on the inside that can show on the outside before you even speak a word. These three together help you to bring forth for others to see just by your presence. And I'm not talking about what you got on, just your aura, the essence of who you are, that you have the ability to be felt by others in your presence before you speak a word. It's your self-assurance and belief in your strengths and abilities as a leader. Your confidence inspires trust. This is not the place to say, oh, I'm going to fake it till I make it, because that's not authentic to who you are. And truth be told, when you say that to someone, you're diminishing you. You're not going to fake it till you make it. You're doing it on your way as you're making more of you. Your confidence comes from within. Now, it may mean that you have to have some self-talk with you. And I talked about a book by I can't think of his last, Helmstetter. What you say to yourself when you talk to yourself, something to that effect. I will make sure you get it. Great book. I see Coach Lewis is here. He's the one that referred the book to me. And I'm telling you, the book is powerful. Your confidence inspires trust. It demonstrates your competence and encourages others to follow your lead. As does your authenticity. People aren't going to get a sense of your confidence if you're not bringing your most authentic self. That's the genuine truth of who you are. It speaks to how comfortable you are in your own skin. It's when you bring your most transparent, honest, and consistent words and actions to whatever you encounter. That creates a true sense of trust and reliability that can be seen and heard. And when you allow your charisma to shine through you as a leader, you have the ability to attract, inspire, and influence the people around you. As might be said in French, that certain je ne sais quoi. You got that it. Charisma is what helps you give the confidence, gives you the confidence to develop excellent communication skills, to be a more compelling storyteller, and connect you emotionally, to connect you emotionally with your audience in ways that motivate and inspire them. When you move people emotionally from the heart with an authentic presence and charisma, it's going to land and they're going to get it. They're going to get you. Yeah. The world is different these days. People didn't necessarily catch on to what I'm saying, but in this post-pandemic era, yeah. Which brings us to another point. Emotional intelligence. Yes, that's another one of those phrases that have been, oh yes, emotional intelligence, emotional intelligence. We all have some level of emotional intelligence. And when you're in touch with your emotional intelligence, it gives you the ability to better understand and manage your emotions. And I don't mean from a perspective of self-managing, which is important. That, yes, self-managing is important. You don't necessarily want to come into a meeting and they're talking about, oh, well, our revenue's down this quarter and we don't know what we're going to do. You don't say, really? No. Not the impression you want to give. But you want to be able to demonstrate empathy, a self-awareness to the situation, and be skilled at managing the interpersonal dynamics of the room. Everyone who speaks isn't reflecting the words they speak. If you get what I'm saying. If you want to give people an impression that's not true, that's not authentic, they may sense a disconnect or tension in what you're saying, or not feel inspired or motivated that what you're telling them will come to pass, or is you've got a plan for it or something. Self-regulating emotions doesn't get you that same sense of being. Start to notice when you're in a room with other leaders and what they say, how they say it, and how does it make you feel? You're capable of building strong relationships, handling conflicts tactfully, and inspiring loyalty. Yes, loyalty is different from trust, because it can be, I trust you, I just don't know that I want to follow you. Loyalty says, I'm with you, I believe you, and let's get in there and do it together. There are very few things in this life that we do solo without the support or assistance of other people. It's here that you can lean into your strengths. I'm always saying, learn to leverage your strengths, lean into the best of who you are, and bring greater awareness to others of your executive presence by being your most authentic self. Here's another one. Leaders who are able to demonstrate or to be in the space of executive presence, that's what they exude, are often visionary thinkers. Now, all leaders are not visionary. Or you may start out that way and end up off track or stuck and unwilling to cast a vision that you have for whatever reason. A visionary outlook says, no, I'm looking out into the future and I see where we can go. Don't get caught up in what's right here in front of your face, because there are bigger things for us to do and we can do them. When you're aware of your executive presence, you have a clear vision for the future and you can articulate it in a convincing way. You're able to inspire others with your strategic thinking, strategic, innovative ideas out of the box, and ability to anticipate and navigate challenges and opportunities. Your vision creates a sense of direction, a roadmap, and a purpose for those you lead or those who may follow you. And then there is executive maturity. If you've reached the executive levels of whatever you do, you did some things to make it happen. It wasn't just because you showed up every day. You demonstrated that you're able to dance in the big leagues. You're able to handle pressure, ambiguity, and setbacks. And let me tell you why that's so significant today. It was present around 2008. That was the housing collapse. It was present during the pandemic. Well, and we're still living in the vestiges of it. So VUCA reality, V-U-C-A, VUCA. Volatility, uncertainty, complexities, and ambiguity. Now, you may not see them all at the same time. However, if you stop and think about just your daily routine, the things that pop up that are so far-fetched, you're like, where's this coming from? I mean, it could be as simple as the weather. It's not uncommon these days to have a temperature shift of 10 to 20 degrees overnight. Yes. The world we're living in today is very unpredictable. How do you do it? How do you get through it? With grace and resilience. Resilience helps you remain composed and make rational decisions, even in high stress situations. Now, in building resilience, to be at that place, you may have some tools in your toolkit that helps you to deliver in such a way. I know I have some. I've got my A team that I can reach out to when I feel life creeping up in levels where I'm not trying to take this on. Reach out for a lifeline. Whatever it is that you put in place for you, that when you realize you're going down that space that you don't want to be in, open up your resilience bag. You got something in there if you've been working at it. And if you're working to develop your executive presence, resilience has got to be a part of that, because it's going to help you demonstrate sound judgment in times of crisis. It's going to help you to fail forward. That if you experience a failure, you learn from that failure and you take responsibility for your actions. That's leadership. You don't play the blame game or put it on someone else. No, you own it. People will respect you for it. Executive presence is such a multifaceted concept. Can I tell you, we are just touching the tip of the iceberg. And hopefully you can see how they're interconnected with each other. And the more you use them together, makes a difference. It's important to note that these attributes don't necessarily have a specific order. It's dependent upon the culture, the industry, and the specific leadership role that you hold. When you develop what's needed to enhance your executive presence, you really begin to exude what it means to lead with executive presence. That people don't question or wonder about your ability to do, they just get on board with it. Now, we're going to spend some time on this topic over the next few weeks because it's a lot to go through. And I think now's a great time. It's a good time. Life's going into one of its periods of, okay, I got a minute to do some self-work, some professional development work. So next week, we're going to talk about blind spots to watch out for as you develop your executive presence. If you want to explore more of what this means and looks like for you, reach out to me for a complimentary discovery session and take your leadership and executive presence to the next level. So here's my shameless shout out of love, oh my goodness, for the team behind the STEAM of Dr. Helen Speaks. I wouldn't be here without them. I would not be here without them. They show up to support me in serving you. And it is my honor to do that. And hopefully you go away with something that makes a difference in your life as a leader and in your leadership. Leadership isn't easy. And today you've got to learn and practice on what it means to be an agile leader. One that can duck and bob and weave, like boxers do when they're in it to win it. These days, you need to be that kind of leader too. Our purpose each week is to bring you insightful and intriguing information to help you level up your leadership to get to the next level. What keeps you forward? From here to what's next? Dr. Helen Speaks. Join us live on Tuesdays, 10 a.m. Pacific time and 1 p.m. Eastern time. Oh. And stay with us for the afterwards. Replays are available here and on our YouTube channel, Dr. Helen Holton. Go there and subscribe if you haven't already. And we look forward to seeing you next week here, live on the Win-Win Women Network. And stay tuned because I've got some surprises in the works. I can't share them now because they're still in development. And I have to rely on other people who have the expertise. I don't. Other way, it's just taking away from my ability to live through the best of who I am and to be your host for Dr. Helen Speaks. Strengths, resilience, and leadership, which we don't want to miss or leave out.